This episode of Hobie is sponsored by Ho Jeff. Save 25% with promo code HobiePod.
Please note that any comments, jokes, questions, maybe anything that we say on the History of Bad Ideas is all in good fun. And remember, we insult everybody. Our thoughts, opinions, questions, anything else, actions that we do on the show do not reflect any of our employers, organizations, advertisers, or anyone else that is associated with the History of Bad Ideas. And remember, at the end of the day, it's just a joke.
Kevin James. It's the history of bad. It's bad. It's the history of bad. So bad. It's the history of bad ideas. It's the history of bad. Oh yeah. It's the history of bad. It's the history of bad ideas. Podcast.
Welcome to the History of Bad Ideas, episode 484. This is Scab Jason.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Real Blake.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Brian.
Jason is not here this week, so we got in the number one scab in the business.
Thank you for having me.
Jason was suspended for comments he made earlier.
That's why he's not here? Suspension?
Suspension,
oh,
yes.
Okay. Not like he's on a family vacation and a business trip all wrapped in one.
Suspended.
Okay. Screw you, Jason.
Did it have anything to do with his Michael Jackson impression from last week?
Yes.
I think it had everything to do with his Michael Jackson impersonation from last week.
Hee hee.
Shamona.
So do we have an outline this week, or is this just off the cuff?
We also suspended intern fax machine, so we do not have an outline, so it's a wild card episode.
I thought the scab was supposed to, since he's taken Jason's place, he was supposed to give the outline.
I don't have a printer.
Or a fax machine.
It's chaos.
So we'll do wild card. We can start with, did anybody watch anything fun and exciting this week?
I'm in the midst of Severance. Have you guys seen Severance?
I have.
That's on Apple TV?
Yeah, it's on Apple TV. It's interesting. I'm not sure if I love it or if I like it or what.
No, I have not seen it. That's the one with Adam Scott?
Yes.
Yes.
I enjoyed it an awful lot. I liked the fact, and I think I may have brought it up before, in prior podcasts, but
I don't listen to the podcast.
I know that exactly. You just show up and
like a true scab.
Rain magic. That's right. Like a true scab. You're not a scab listener. You're just a scab podcast.
Exactly.
No, but I do like the fact that there are two alternate realities, right? And so I do like the whole thing when they start realizing that there's an other self out there. And, what they do to try and get out of it. And, of course, there's the real world, which is kind of weird dystopia. And then there's that office space world that they're stuck in. And the way it starts out is really weird. And I was like, all right, this could be really cool. And then, of course, he goes back and sees Flip from the other side of what was of the door, on the side of the wall and that kind of fun stuff. But, yes.
I love the idea of it just cutting your brain, so you only experience work when you're at work and you only experience real life when you're in real life. So it's like the perfect world for the person who doesn't have to work. But then they point out that the person who has to work, they are always at work. And then when they stop... Right.
And they're really indentured servants, really, when you come down to it, the manager with what's her name, running it. And it's not a
Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette. Let's just say it's a very toxic work environment. for at least from management and employee. And then, of course, the big question is, what is their job and what are they doing when they're looking for those numbers and the patterns? I mean, when you go online and you read about it, some interesting theories of what they're actually, doing down there, looking at the patterns and all that kind of fun stuff.
The episode that I just saw, I'm not done with the first season yet, but they saw the goats for the first time.
Yes. And it gets a little weird. Yeah, exactly. That's it. But I don't want to spoil it for you, but I enjoyed it. Although the season did kind of end interestingly. Of course, it has to if you want to have a season 2. But I'm not sure if I would enjoy season 2 as much as I did season 1.
Yeah, Dr. Dana was looking forward to season 2 based on how season 1 ended. She said it was quite the cliffhanger.
It is.
So they were literally hanging off a cliff?
I don't want to spoil it.
Well, they're hanging off of a cubicle divider. But no, okay, not.
Is it as big a cliffhanger as Alphas? When they canceled Alphas? Does anybody remember Alphas?
Yeah.
Alphas, that was superheroes, and it was, what's his name? Trying to remember the guy who played the head guy. Well, he passed away now, so.
I know.
If only there were a device where we could look that up. But no, the only thing I know about Alphas was it was in a plot of one episode of The Big Bang Theory where Sheldon was looking forward to seeing the next season of Alphas because of the cliffhanger it finished on.
David Strathern.
Oh, did he die?
I thought he did. I don't know. Maybe. Let me check.
All right.
Is that the dad from Dolores Claiborne?
Was he in the...
He did not die. He did not die. I was mistaken.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, he wasn't in the Oscar Memoriam or they forgot him?
I don't know. There were a lot of people that weren't in the Oscar Memoriam, so...
Yeah, I read about it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I saw where Mira Sorvino was outright ticked that they didn't put her dad in the in memoriam.
Well, his wife was really big, too. She was really demanding of an apology and et cetera.
I didn't hear about the wife. I just heard about the daughter.
Yeah, Mira was upset as well. Yeah, but Paul Sorvino's wife was really upset, really, really upset.
I would ask if what's his name, Robert Blake's wife was upset, but
boo!
Too soon.
Yes, she was.
I like it. They're like, yeah, Robert Blake from Beretta, and I'm like, how about the Little Rascals? He was in the Little Rascals.
Sure.
Was he Spanky?
No.
No, that was George McFarlane.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nor was he Alfalfa.
No.
Nor was he Buckwheat.
No. Nor was he Petey.
I don't know any of the Little Rascals.
See, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Petey was the dog.
Yes.
I don't think he was Darla either.
He wasn't Darla either. No, that's correct. But no, I got Apple Plus just so I could watch,
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, of course.
Season
we watched
3.
Ted Lasso. That's good. It started out pretty well. I liked it, and then I like how they're going to show the dichotomy, between the two management styles and the teams. We'll see what eventually happens.
Is that one episode a week, or is that all out at the same time, like Netflix?
A week. It's every Wednesday, right?
Wednesday now, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday now. So
Was Fridays.
yeah.
Now it's Wednesday.
I haven't started the third season, but I love the first 2 seasons.
But when you get done with Severance and Ted Lasso, you can watch Greyhound, which is a really great movie too. Only on Apple.
I thought Ted Lasso was about the Greyhounds.
That too. Different types of greyhounds.
Yeah. One's about the bus. The other's about the soccer team. And there's a third one coming out about the dogs.
Gotcha. Featuring Santa's little helper.
Mm-hmm.
He is the greatest greyhound.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that you started watching a show that I was interested in, the Mayor of
Kingstown? Yeah, I've been on that since the beginning. It's part of the Taylor Sheridan cadre of Paramount Plus shows. Probably better than Yellowstone.
Not related to any of the Yellowstone timeline?
No.
Okay, just double check.
Nope. It's Jeremy Renner.
And Kyle Chandler.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Well, he stars in a half an episode.
Yeah,
What are
he
they?
does.
What are they going to do with Jeremy Renner and his accident? Because I saw in the headline that Jeremy Renner was thinking actually about retiring from acting.
Yeah,
It's a wait and see thing.
Okay.
yeah. His show on Disney just came out though. That he was in the middle of filming. Renovations. It's like him and his family. Like I don't really know much more about it than that, but
It's otherwise known as white people renovating houses.
so it's on HGTV Plus.
All the plus networks to go along with that, huh?
Yeah. Well, MGM Plus is the new one that I never heard of today.
Okay.
Until today.
That's the one with all the HGTV shows and...
Oh, I
No, I don't know. We just saw somebody posted about it.
Is MGM Plus as all the other shows that MGM doesn't play on a regular day?
Someone from this podcast posted an article about a show coming out on MGM Plus, and I don't know what that network is or where to find it.
Well, I wasn't the one that shared it, obviously, because I don't
you?
even know what MGM Plus is.
What would I share?
Was it you?
It was not
My
me.
wife and I are planning an anniversary trip to Kansas.
MGM Plus?
To Kansas. And what is there to do in Kansas? Apparently, the lion from the MGM logo is buried in Kansas, and we are going there.
Ask him how I can watch MGM Plus.
The Dead Lion?
Somebody's got to know.
We'll bring the Ouija board.
Break it out.
Oh, he's breaking it out right now as we speak.
On demand. Ouija on demand.
All right, so this next segment on the podcast is going to be us consulting the Ouija board.
I haven't unboxed it yet.
Oh, no.
So we don't even know how it's supposed to be used. We don't even know if it's a real cursed Ouija board or not.
The show on MGM Plus that was shared on our Facebook page today is Michael Chiklis and Danny Pino's Hotel Cocaine.
I can live with that.
Is it
Not-
a sequel to Cocaine Bear?
Say not in the Cocaine Bear timeline.
It's the story of Roman Comte, a Cuban expatriate who fought against Fidel Castro in the Bay of Pigs invasions, where he made his life in Miami. He is a general manager of the Mutiny Hotel, the glamorous epicenter of the Miami cocaine scene in the late 70s and early 80s. Okay.
So is MGM Plus going to have like classic MGM movies? Because I would totally get it if it had like 50s and 60s and 30s and 40s movies.
And James Bond movies.
I can already see those. I think they're all on HBO Max.
Or TBS
And they're not that good.
On the
I
weekend,
try to
yeah.
like them.
on the holidays.
Yeah, the old ones are kind of tough to go back and watch. Not even over just the
Special
misogyny
effects.
of it all, but just the poor filmmaking.
Not the special effects, but maybe the old rapey James Bond stuff I've talked about before. The sexual assault James Bond.
Well, they don't pretend that he's anything other than a sex predator,
Correct. Yeah, I mean, at least they're pretty straightforward about it.
but a badass sex predator.
Yeah. Which I guess makes it okay because he's fighting for the good guys. But that's okay. But I watched The Last of Us. I finished that. Did you guys talk about that last week?
A little bit, but we didn't spoil it.
Didn't
Yeah.
spoil it.
So not everyone has seen the end of it last week. So
I finished it as well.
So I
Jim, you saw in the first episode.
Second.
Oh, all right, you moved up.
there you go.
But what's
Third episode is one of the best episodes of television ever.
That's what I heard. So what's available on MGM Plus? You have movies like 12 Angry Men, The Apartment, Carrie,
I literally just watched 2 of those 3 this week.
The Defiant Ones, Red Dawn,
Hold on, which
I told
one?
you I watched that.
The
last
old one?
Red Dawn.
the older one,
Okay,
Roadhouse, A Fish Called Wanda, In the Heat of the Night, Inherit the Wind, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, The Magnificent Seven, The Manchurian Candidate, Midnight Cowboy, Moby
I
Dick,
just watched that one recently too.
Paths of Glory, The Pink Panther, Red River, Rob Roy, RoboCop, Rollerball, the original.
Yeah, this sounds good.
You know, it's a mad world. It's like on heavy rotations on weekends. I've seen it like several times over the past year.
It's not that good.
It's all right. It's a long one, though.
And then
Yeah, I think we had to watch it I took a history of film class in high school, and we watched that one, and I thought, oh, this is terrible.
That's an odd one to watch during a history of film class.
Yeah? I mean, I just think the teacher liked it, so he showed it to us. Here's all the famous people from the 50s in one movie.
And then shows on MGM Plus, A Spy Among Friends. That's Damian Lewis and Guy Pearce. And then Hotel Cocaine. And then there's MGM Plus movie. There's Something Wrong with the Children.
That's a comic series.
It's an original film.
I was
Could be based on the comic series, yeah.
Did anybody invest any time in Hulu's History of the World Part 2? Mel Brooks. It came out this week, didn't it?
I think last week,
Or last week?
I've seen 0 minutes of it so far.
Yeah, me too. I meant to. I mean, I've been waiting 30 years for it.
That's your homework for next week, Blake.
All right. I got to get to that.
The problem with me is Hulu app sucks, and it's tough to watch things on Hulu. Their commercial interface sucks, and it makes it difficult. So I just don't watch things on Hulu.
My app actually skips on Hulu, like it just a little bit every once in a while, but it's noticeable that it does it, and it's only Hulu, so it's not my tablet.
Glitches in the Matrix.
The Mel Brooks movies that I've watched recently, I'm not sure they age as well as I had hoped.
Blazing Saddles does. You could air that movie today in the theater, and no one would have a problem with it.
The Producers was okay. Is still okay.
Young Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
I'm not sure. The Spaceballs seems a little
Spaceballs
too
was
iffy.
Not the best.
Very, very 80s.
Yeah. Same thing with Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Well, that sucked to begin with.
Yeah.
That was a terrible, terrible, terrible movie.
Yeah.
He just recycled 90% of his jokes in that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, half the jokes were from Young Frankenstein, the other half were from Blazing Saddles, but yeah.
Is the top five Mel Brooks films today?
No.
No, because someone would put Robin Hood Men in Tights, and then I would have to break things.
So MGM Plus is formerly known as Epix on Amazon Prime.
Oh, there you go.
Epics with an X.
Mm-hmm.
So wasn't that a cable channel before?
Yeah, it was a satellite, DirecTV.
It wasn't like Showtime, Epix.
No, it was Epix. It was like Epix.
It was Stars.
Yeah.
Stars is what I was thinking, yeah.
Okay.
It is $6 a month.
Woo.
That's not bad. Is it actually out in those movies that you read? Or actually
Yes, all
on?
that's available.
You pay $6, watch all those movies in 1 month, and then cancel.
Well, you do get a week free.
So you get a free week, watch all those movies in a week, and then cancel.
But what if you want to watch them multiple times?
Then watch them multiple times within your free week.
Then buy them. Buy hard copies, because you can watch them whenever you want and don't have to subscribe to any service.
So yesterday I go to work and I get all logged into my computer and everything, and I have just one email, which is strange. I usually have a lot of emails, but the one email it copies me, but it's addressed to my backup saying that Jeff won't be into work today. And I'm thinking, and I look at my schedule, and apparently I had requested yesterday off. And I have no idea why I requested yesterday off. I woke up for work. I went to work.
It was to prepare for this podcast.
Did you think it was the day after the Oscars?
Maybe, and I may have just no-showed last Monday, the Monday before. I did consider that as a possibility. But on my day off, I watched Charlie Chan's Modern Times, which
Didn't age well.
Charlie Chan's?
no, not Charlie Chan. Charlie Chaplin's
Okay.
Modern Times, and
Yeah, I never heard that Charlie Chan movie.
and he's it's unions and working and all that, but he falls in love with this girl who ran away from home, and she's wanted by the police as a runaway from her parents, and they eventually hook up and go off together at the end.
Do they mention how old she is?
I assume since she was the cops were after her because she ran away from her parents, I assume she has to be less than 18, right?
No, this is back when women were not individuals and they were owned by their parents until they married them off.
Yeah, the good old days of
That
America.
that makes me feel a little better about the movie.
I think we have a title for the show so far. The good old days of America.
Oh, we need scratch paper to write our titles down on. Jeff, do something about that.
Boy, that was difficult. Here he is.
Hey, look, here's a piece of paper and a pen. All right. Now he's passing out the paper. Should we just take a break while we do this?
No, this is good. This is good podcasting right here. I've been watching Yellowstone. I'm almost caught up through the regular run of it. And the second kid they introduced isn't nearly as annoying as the first kid.
They just recycle kids?
Well, they just brought another one in, but he's not as bad.
I take it the first kid is incredibly annoying.
Is it Rip and Beth's kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one they just pick up. We're going to take this kid. He's 14.
Yeah, it's Montana.
All right, did anybody write down that suggestion yet? Because I forgot what it was.
Good old days of America.
The good old days of America.
Okay, I'll write that down because I have a pen.
Pencils behind you to your right.
Behind the curtain?
Yes.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Literally is behind the curtain. Ooh, there's sharpeners. Electric. Very nice.
I can't think of anything I've been watching.
I was saying, what should I watch next in the Yellowstone universe?
Something that's a year. The title is a year.
1883 next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or do 1889.
Aren't those both Stephen King books and movies?
1803 is.
I thought it was 1804.
Same difference.
All right. Has anyone watched Poker Face?
No.
I've heard good things about it. I want to, but I've been distracted with watching all the Oscar movies and everything, so I haven't had a chance.
It's one of those shows with Natasha Lyonne that I said, this looks like it's going to be pretty good. I'm going to watch this, and never get around to watching it.
I watched
Like Russian Dolls?
I watched Russian Doll, and I loved it, and I was like halfway through the season, and then I just forgot about it. And now I don't even remember what the first half of the season was.
I remember getting through about halfway through the first episode and falling asleep and thought, I'll have to come back to this later, and still have yet to. But I'm interested in Poker Face. I think that might be the next thing on my list.
It's by the guy who does what? It was one of the big shows or movies that who is what's the well, regardless, it was somebody who did
Ryan Johnson.
Yes, the glass knife or the glass knives.
Glass Onion.
Glass Knives movies.
Yeah, Glass Knives.
As we all write that down as a possible title.
Star Wars Episode 7, Glass Knives.
Oh, did he do one of the Star Wars too?
Yeah,
Rise of the Glass Onion.
He did.
I thought it was
the Last
Onion Knife.
Jedi,
The Glass Onion
the one that
Breaks.
Blake really, really hates, but is secretly
Everybody
the best
everybody
Star
fucking
Wars
hates
movie
the
out
worst
there.
fucking Star Wars movie out there.
Never heard of it.
That's right. I disagree, obviously. But we're all, Jeff's entitled to his wrong opinion. And I'm entitled to my asshole opinion. That's right.
I watched New Jack City for the first time today.
Whoa.
That just came out like 22 years ago.
It wasn't
that age well?
It aged well. It wasn't terrible, but I had just watched Menace to Society right before that, which is actually an actual great movie.
I meant 22. I meant 32 years ago.
It was 91, so
31 years. Yeah, 32 years ago.
But Menace to Society was 1993, so that was only 30 years ago.
Did you watch the sequel?
Menace 3 Society?
No. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
It's been probably 30 years since I've seen that, but
Wrong hole, fool. What do you, kids? What do you say to this nice man? Are you my daddy?
Wasn't that movie just like a sequel to a whole bunch of different movies?
Or not so much a sequel or a spoof?
Was it Mel Brooks? The sequel to Blazing Saddles. Ooh, that might have been racist.
Or would it have been the Wayans?
It was the Wayans.
So it's all good.
Did they do the Scary Movie movies?
Yes.
Well, they did the first two Scary movies. One of the Zucker brothers did the second or the third and fourth Scary movie.
The one that runs Facebook?
Yeah.
And then they did
No.
White Chicks.
Zucker brothers from Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker, the people who did Airplane and Top Secret.
And Amazon Women on the Moon.
Yes, that too.
Well, no, the Wayans also did I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, didn't they do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And they also did White Chicks.
Yeah. There's
See,
a broad spectrum.
That's a different Wayans brothers. And you can always tell how old someone is when you ask them, what are the first names of the Wayans brothers? If they say Damon and Keenan,
they're old.
They're old. If
Keenan
they,
Ivory will.
Yeah. If they say Sean and Marlon, then they're millennials.
Damon Jr.?
Then we ignore you.
He's the funniest of all of them.
Coach?
That's right.
Which one directed Nope?
None of the Wayans.
What didn't somebody from
Key and Peele?
That's Key and Peele.
Weren't they
Jordan
the Good Burger
Peele.
people?
Yeah.
No, they were on Mad TV.
Who were the Good Burger people?
Keenan and Cal.
Yeah.
Good Burger too.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
sequel
No,
coming.
like Keenan, a different. Yeah, that's Keenan Thompson, who's been on Saturday Night Live for like 20 years now.
And we can't talk about the guy who created Good Burger. He's been canceled.
Dan Schneider.
You can't talk about him because of him. Amanda Bynes has been put in hospital
gosh.
once again.
Yeah.
Under psychiatric care now.
Yeah, I saw
Is that
that.
the guy who did Community?
No. This was
Has this joke gone too far?
nope.
Yes.
I'm still
No,
trying to
that's
understand
Jordan
it.
Peele's movie.
Now I'm lost.
No, that was a television show. That was Blake's favorite.
Oh, that's right.
At least for the first season or two.
The one that you had to actually pay attention to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you were lost.
Aptly titled.
Oh,
You have a button for that.
Oh, that didn't go off.
That's what she said.
Oh, I didn't raise the. There we go. Still didn't go off.
We got some
Because I
listeners.
raised the wrong. Jason would love this.
I heard it.
We have some listener feedback here. It kind of fits into what I said earlier.
Start reading.
We have from the TPC Cafe _EH at TPC Cafe _EH. Do you gents think that owning physical media is more important now that streaming services and companies are making and taking control of their IPs? Is owning the physical media cuts back on the amount of streaming services you need to have?
Well, I always said owning the physical media was important because you never know which streaming service may or may not, or if it's available. So if you can just have it already, then you don't have to worry about it. The reason you want streaming services, though, is for their original content, in my opinion.
Or the convenience of it. It's much easier to turn on the TV and hit a button than it is to get out your DVD player or your Xbox and then put the DVD in and then get out your remote for that.
Then have it all downloaded to a computer hard drive and just pull it up from the hard drive already connected to your television.
That sounds like a lot more trouble than just buying every streaming service and and watching movies that way.
Or own the original intellectual property before it gets censored.
You mean like Community?
Yeah, missing episodes pulled on purpose, or like episodes from The Office and all that kind of stuff that they won't air during,
So they can't see the Dungeons and Dragons episode of Community anymore on streaming?
I think one of these places shows it, and one of them doesn't. I can't remember which one. Like, I think Netflix pulled it, but Amazon will still show it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But nowhere can you see episode 200 and 201 of South Park.
Not even on the... Unless you bought the...
I don't think they ever released them on DVD. You had to have recorded them when they were first aired.
The Super Best Friends episodes?
No, the Super Best Friend episode is still out there, but it was the different Muhammad-related episode.
Okay. Oh, no.
Well, see, they threatened to show Muhammad.
Yeah.
Even though they never did, just the fact that they talked about it was enough.
Yeah.
And when they actually had, like, the person that thought, okay, this is Muhammad, they pulled it off, and it was, just Santa Claus?
Yeah, it was Santa Claus. Because they're like, oh, we got to get Muhammad out of here. And he was, like, in a panda outfit.
Yes, the panda outfit.
And then when they unmasked him, it was Santa Claus, because he was the diversion, so Muhammad could get away. So they never showed Muhammad.
I can't believe we started listener feedback, and we didn't start it off with that one guy.
Apans?
7? Can't give yourself a nickname?
Big D.
Sonny D.
The Mailman.
Chili Billy.
Doug.
Dad.
Do we have any questions from him?
No, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying I'm surprised we didn't start with him.
Well, that's because intern fax machine didn't send out the invites to give us feedback.
From Doug, it is, the thing I respect most about you guys is if a listener spends their hard-earned money on something for you, without fail, you will try it. You may not like it, but you don't want to let your listeners down. With that being said, your next Hobie Taste Challenge that he's going to send us is Van Leeuwen Hidden Valley Ranch Ice Cream.
That doesn't sound real bad.
It sounds god-awful.
And it is, in fact, being held in his gigantic hand. The pint of ice cream looks like a Oreo.
That's not a pint. That's 3 gallons.
Those are big hands. Oh, ranch ice cream.
No.
And as my response,
I would like to try it.
My response was that I absolutely hate ranch, but I will try it. Won't like it. And his response was, I saw someone try it and said it was better if you dip your wings in it.
Wings and ice cream.
Just chill your ranch dressing in the refrigerator and whatever.
So what's the strangest combination of foods that you've ever put together?
I'm pretty sure it was a Hello Jeff box.
Oh,
yeah.
You actually ate the things in there together?
Well, there's no instructions on how to cook any of the food, so I didn't know what to do, Jeff.
Microwave.
I will tell you that there is no way in hell a pizza with beans will ever be in a Hello Jeff box.
Oh, did Doug share that too, or who shared that to us on Twitter?
That was from
Frisch.
Yes, on Facebook.
But of course, Brian's comment was that he'd probably burn it and eat it and then pass out.
Yes, I've done that.
You burned your beans?
I put a pizza in, was drunk, passed out on the couch, woke up to smoke alarms.
Yeah.
And my upstairs roommate came downstairs, took it out of the oven, cut half of it off, threw it in the garbage can. So I woke up thinking that I had eaten half the pizza.
And it was charred black.
Nice. I don't know. I just remember in the cafeteria in college, we'd try different things, and the fried shrimp dipped in butterscotch pudding was actually pretty good. If you're curious. I'm getting looks.
Yeah.
That is a palate of a professional right there.
I wouldn't have expected those two to go together, but now that you mentioned that they could possibly, it sounds intriguing.
Why were you so late to the culinary box game, Jeff?
I just didn't think that was a thing people would want.
Butterscotch pudding and fried shrimp.
Speaking of which, this week's Hello Jeff box is fried shrimp and butterscotch pudding.
With a single serving of ranch ice cream.
How do you cook that?
Now you want instructions too? You get the lady with the hairnet behind the counter to cook it for you?
So I got to take it to Kroger Deli?
Yeah, they'll cook it. They won't mind.
So you actually had the lunch lady make it for you, or you got the two separate and then made it yourself?
We got the two separate and then made it ourselves. I mean, the pudding was just sitting on the salad bar or the pudding bar or whatever it was. And
You had a pudding bar at school?
well, there was always a pudding at the end of the salad bar.
All right.
One or two choices. So, although a pudding bar sounds real good. They didn't like. We had the cereal options, and they sent out a survey to see which cereals they should keep or what they should add, to their choices of cereals. And apparently, the dietitians were horrified when all sugar-coated cereals won the thing, and none of the healthier cereals did. Then they took it upon themselves to still have half the cereals were healthy cereals, and then they would give the top sugar cereals, which were none of them on my list.
What was your list?
My list was Peanut Butter Captain Crunch and Fruity Pebbles, and what else would have been on my list?
So you had name brand cereals at your school, not the generic?
You didn't have Grape Nuts and All Brand,
Like I said, those,
Special K.
they had those. Those are the ones people didn't want.
Where do you think they got the breading for the fried shrimp, Jim?
Cornflakes.
But yeah, things like Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, all the
Cheerios.
boring
Been there.
sugar cereals.
We had Fruity Pebbles at our cafeteria in college.
Well, your college was better then.
And we stole the entire dispenser.
So no one could have Fruity Pebbles.
You could have it on demand in your room.
When we brought it back the next day, they're like, how'd you guys get this? And we're like, we're good. Here you go. They were more surprised that we got it out, that they didn't even bother, didn't care that we took it.
Well, it's probably much easier to steal things when you realize people just assume you're not going to steal it, so they don't watch it. I just remember when I worked at the movie theater and someone stole one of our refrigerators, our small cooling refrigerators, because it wasn't locked up.
Do you mean like dormitoriums, dorm room size
Yeah,
refrigerator?
a little bigger than that, and it was clear, so you could see around it or whatever. It was like to put the display stuff in and plug it in. And, well, you put the stuff in at one of the like little satellite concession stands, so we only used those when it was busy.
So did it have drinks in there or candy bars in there?
Drinks.
Well, drinks in there. Well, that was
It
probably
was
worth.
It was empty when I took it.
No,
Oh, it was empty.
It was
when
empty
they
when
took
it was
empty
stolen.
when I took it.
We didn't keep the product in it.
I was going to say you kept the product in it. That's like worth at least $1,000 right there.
No, we didn't keep the product in it. The product was out, but somebody just stole the refrigerator anyway.
You had all your snow caps in there. That's at least $5,000 worth of snow caps.
It was only 4
10
boxes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure snow caps have to be cold.
Well, you do if you don't want them to melt.
But snow is in the title.
Yeah, that's right. There's snow caps.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing that you've ever stolen?
Oh, God, now you're going to make me think.
I'm not sure I've stolen anything, and I'm trying to think. I'll come up with something I've stolen.
Blake, you don't have to answer. You're in the... you have security clearance.
Yeah, you can't violate that.
I mean, like tax evasion and rape and murder.
Not all that, but I hadn't stolen anything.
Wait a minute.
I have stolen anything.
I'm not a congressman. It's just free thoughts on 484. Just a flow of random thoughts.
Other stuff in college we liked to steal was around Halloween. We'd go like 4 days before Halloween, and we would steal as many pumpkins as we could, but we wouldn't take any that anybody painted or carved because they put their hard-earned time into those. We just took the ones that people had that didn't do any work with them. And I think the one year...
So like the Robin Hood of stealing pumpkins.
Yes. I think one year we ended up with 62 pumpkins.
And then did you give them to people who would carve them? Or
No,
paint
yeah,
them?
they would
No.
improve the carvings and put them back on the porches the next day.
We carved every single one of them and decorated our house with it. I may have skipped a few days of classes to get all these done.
Gotta have priorities.
Definitely priorities.
That's what college is all about.
I did graduate. I graduated with honors, which is funny because I skipped a whole lot of class.
Well, honors, but they didn't tell you what type of honors.
Nope.
That's the thing is you don't necessarily go to class to get a grade unless attendance is mandatory. I mean, you can get grades without going to class.
My calculus class, they gave me the syllabus at the beginning, and it said when the tests were and that the grade was 100% based on the tests. So I only showed up for the test knowing what the chapters were, and I got an A. And that's the only math class I had to take my entire college career because I was an English and film major.
I'm all for that.
I still have the nightmares where you didn't go to class all semester and you got to show up for the final. And
Me
you don't
too.
know
I just
jack
had one
shit.
last night.
You don't have jack. You don't know anything. You're going in all stressed out. I still have that once every 6 months or so.
Mine are I can't find my class because I've never been there.
Or yes,
And I don't have.
You have the schedules, but
Yeah.
you've never been there because you
I
can't
feel
find it.
I could pass the
Right.
test if I made it, but
It's finding my class and then, crap, my stuff's in my locker. And I have no idea what the combination is, let alone where it is.
Yep, I've had all those dreams before. The worst part is when you experience it in real life. When you show up to take a test and know nothing about it because you skipped too many classes and don't know the subject matter.
I did that once. I walked into a class and saw everybody had their books out cramming. I turned around and walked right out. Called the teacher, told him I wasn't in any condition to take the test because I wasn't lying. And he said, I'll let you take it tomorrow in my office, but I'm going to guarantee it's going to be harder than the one I gave the guys. I said, that's fine. I got an A on it. So
Not me. I got an F when I showed up, and I'm looking at the questions. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be solving.
Oh, the teacher wasn't in the class yet when I turned around and walked out.
Oh, no, I realized that. No, this is a final, so it was like the very end, and I'm like, okay, what do I even know? Oh, God, I know what we did week 1. Oh, no. Is it too late to drop?
Normally at the final it is.
Can I still get a W for withdrawal? At least.
So I retook that class.
Yeah, that was pretty.
That's the difference of taking a class at like 9 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon.
On a Friday.
No, if it was 4 in the afternoon, I showed up to it. If it was 9 in the morning, ain't no way I was waking up.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how many 9:30 or 8:30 or 9:30 classes I missed in college. I skipped a bunch of them. But I can tell you I didn't miss a single 6:30 a.m. practice. And then I would go to breakfast, and then I would go take a nap through my classes.
Just in time for lunch.
Just in time for lunch.
Well, that was college talk.
Let me tell you about the advanced physics class I had to take. No, I'm kidding. But I could. But that moment has passed.
Go ahead.
No.
No.
I had to take an advanced physics class because
Yeah.
of my scholarship, and I was forced to take it. And I remember it also came with a lab. And I remember going in there to week 1. I had no idea what people were doing. I walk in, everybody's doing shit on the labs. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? I had to go to the TA, and I'm like, hey, what am I doing? I'm like, well, you're supposed to do this. Go in week 2. What the hell's everybody doing? I don't understand. What are we doing? And I go up to TA. He's like, hey, man, can you help me out? He's like, yeah, well, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, I have no fucking clue. 3rd week, I come in, and I raise my hand again. I'm like, hey, can you help me out? I have no idea what I'm doing. And he's like, what the hell? He goes, what is your major? And I said, communications, public relations. What are you taking this class for? I'm like, I'm forced to do it. So the best part was the next week I walked in, he was already at my lab station setting shit up for me. Here you go, Blake. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. But what also saved me in that class, other than the classroom stuff, the lab part, the TA saved me. But the classroom is when we got into the theories of relativity. That's what saved my grade, because I can theorize and relativity all you want. Everybody else that was solving all these calculus theories and questions had problems with the relativity parts, but not me. I can grasp that side of the left-handed, right-handed brain.
You can win at bullshitting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Fortunately, I was kind of good at that at that time, so it was all right.
At that time.
At that time.
Ooh, that sounds like a burn.
I was good at that bullshit. At that time. At that time. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. Exciting story, I know. Woo.
Don't worry, it wasn't like too long that I got to play the story time with Blake music.
Just trying to get into it. I left out a lot of details though. But anyways.
Awkward silence time now.
484, freedom of thought flow. What's next?
No, all the listeners, we're going to be quiet. You just think about what we've said so far.
Just think it in. We'll collect the papers at the end of class.
If you remember where to go and turn them in.
Don't steal any cereal on your way to turning these in.
Or get distracted by uncarved pumpkins.
Hey!
Well, so how's everybody's NC2A brackets doing, if you filled one out or if you care?
I did not fill one out for the first time in 20 years.
Most of my family went to Purdue.
So, Brian, do you miss not rooting for teams in your bracket, or are you just fine?
So I took it a step further than the brackets, and I've just decided to be a degenerate and gamble real money on all of them.
I'm so glad we have Sportsbook in the state now.
So how much are you up?
I am up $350. through the first round.
How much did you put down?
I started with $100.
Excellent. Yeah. No, my brackets aren't good. But, I love March Madness. This is the best. I don't watch basketball other than these, 3-4 weeks here in March, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more meaningful, especially all these college kids. And I enjoy watching the Cinderella stories and the upsets. I was giddy when, Purdue did lose for Fairleigh Dickinson. And then my first question was, how many people are Googling, where is Fairleigh Dickinson, by the way? A lot of people probably didn't know.
Where is it?
New Jersey.
Yeah, it's in Jersey.
I'm sure if you that day, if you typed in "where is" on Google, Fairleigh Dickinson would auto fill in.
It automatically fill in, yeah.
New Jersey had a good 2 days of upsets with Princeton and Fairleigh Dickinson.
Mm-hmm. I almost picked Princeton in the first round because they're always good for an upset every couple of years. In that first round.
The Ivy League, I think, was misseeded this year because because Yale, I think, was predicted to be a 13 seed, but Princeton beat them for the championship.
Yeah.
So,
if you type "where is F" into Google, first is "where is Fiji," second is "where is Fez from," and third is Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fez is still getting auto-populated after all these years.
Well, there's that. Was he in that 90s show?
70s show.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
they just
the
had to
90s
re-release
show.
the 90s
yeah,
show.
90s show. Okay.
Was he in that one?
Yeah, they all made guest appearances spots except for Danny Masterson for some reason. Hyde.
For some reason.
Is he a badass sex predator?
Well, yes, he's a sex predator.
We don't know how James Bond of a sex predator he is.
Well, apparently not as good as...
Alleged.
Well, apparently not as good as James Bond because James Bond is still out fighting bad guys.
Well, his charges were mistrial.
Yeah.
So it's just alleged for him.
No, allegedly. So that's not good.
So he's got that going for him.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's the pull of the week?
The poll of the week was, does anybody actually read these polls? Winning 98% to 2% was no.
I thought you were going to say that there were no responses.
Wait, we do polls?
I was going to vote on it, but I didn't bother.
No responses would have been a much better answer. You're regretting not saying that, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
We can edit it if you want. From here, say it.
Give him the dumb. Give him the drum. There you go.
Oh, wait. Nope, that's the wrong page. I was going to hit the drums and said we would have gotten...
I'm Brad.
Hit it anyways.
I did. and it's a, what do you call it? A promo for the Cinema Guys.
Yeah, so listen to the Cinema Guys.
I hit it and he said, I'm Brad. I went, oh, we don't want to hear that anymore.
You just make that as a random sound drop. It was so funny. I'm Brad. I'm Brad. And the next time Brad's listening, you're like, just don't tell him.
We'll see if he listens to this episode.
There you go.
Brian, do you have anything to plug? Were you on any other podcasts this week?
Yeah, my episode with Everything I Learned from Movies in Marky March.
Everything I learned from movies
was just dropped today. We are talking about Four Brothers, the film.
Now, was there a compare and contrast to the original movie?
Step Brothers?
No, the original Four Brothers.
There was not.
Is that New Kids on the Block?
No,
They had a bunch of hits.
no, it was just based off of like a John Wayne movie.
We did not compare it or contrast it to any John Wayne.
It's much better than the John Wayne movie.
I don't find that hard to believe.
I saw them both. The John Wayne movie was pretty crappy. Which brings me to my theory of if you're going to remake movies, remake the crappy movies and make them good. Don't remake good movies and make them crappy. You're going about it the wrong way. So take a bad John Wayne movie like Four Brothers and make a good Marky Mark movie.
So what if they took a crappy movie like the original Rollerball and decided to remake that one into an even worse version?
Well, they just screwed up. I think they intended to make a good version. They just didn't.
Well, it always starts out bad when your first thought is, I think we need Chris Klein.
I don't know if that was even their first thought.
Okay, if any thought is,
Okay.
I think we need Chris Klein.
I mean, the first thought I hope was, hey, we got Rebecca Romaine on board.
Ooh, Ice Cube.
Now we got a winner. Chris Klein signed on.
They never said that about American Pie.
Which does not hold up.
What about American Pie 2?
It's been too long since I've seen it. It was fine socially when I first saw it, but so was American Pie, which is definitely not anymore.
What about Election? The movie where Chris Klein got a start because he was just an extra, and they kind of liked him and used him more in the film.
I mean, I guess he was the closest to an actor that school had available.
But the other two people in the movie were good actors. The other stars.
You mean the people they hired to be actors they hired and brought into the school?
Yes. Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon. We can talk about Reese Witherspoon because Jason isn't here to say how much he sucks and he hates her.
She does have a weird face.
It's her chin.
Yes.
I
Part of her face.
Oh, yeah, because I saw when Peter and Quagmire and Joe, they used her chin to break into that safe at his father-in-law's house.
Oh, no. We can't get through here. We need something to cut this open with. How about Reese Witherspoon's chin?
I like
Funny.
Reese Witherspoon.
I do, too. But
In her chin.
But Jason has a tendency to really hate on some actresses in Hollywood.
He's just jealous.
He probably is. And then he'll go ahead and love on other people who you're like, really? You're taking Sandra Bullock over Jennifer Aniston?
Speaking of Jennifer Aniston.
Sandra Bullock's not bad.
She's not bad. She's no Jennifer Aniston.
I love Speed.
And supposedly she's going
And
to be...
he likes the movie, too.
Supposedly she's going to be at the Comic Expo this September.
Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I think that's unconfirmed as of right now.
Yeah, her and Keanu Reeves are doing a Speed panel.
Nice.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Is Jason hosting that one?
I believe so.
Is Dennis Hopper going to be there?
He will not.
Allegedly.
Will his son Owen Wilson be there?
Maybe. Allegedly.
Allegedly. I think Paul Sorvino may be there, too.
I'm pretty sure he won't.
Will not.
His ashes will be.
Well,
He'll be able to
is
bid
he
on
dead? He wasn't on the...
Andrew said he's going to
He
get the
wasn't
ashes.
on
You can bid on
the
him.
in memorandum.
Yeah.
So, Brian, when is the Cincinnati Comic Expo this year?
September 22nd through the 24th.
Oh. Are you going to be there?
I will be there.
Jeff, are you going to be there?
I'll be there.
Hi.
Blake, are you going to show up this year?
I might have to wash my hair that weekend.
Scab Jason?
I may have to wash my hair as well.
But who is going to be there? Miranda Otto is going to be there.
She is coming
That
back
is
after
real.
having to cancel last year.
Aowen herself.
And Christina Ricci's coming this year.
Christina Ricci's going
after
to come?
she canceled last year.
And then we got Ming-Na Wen. And also just announced, we have Cary Nord. He is an Eisner Award-winning comics artist and writer known for his works in Daredevil and Conan the Legend.
And Jim Lee.
Yes.
I mean, Jim Lee will be there. Nord isn't known for drawing Jim Lee.
Alan Oppenheimer. He will be there.
Did he create the atom bomb?
No. He voiced Skeletor and Man-at-Arms and He-Man.
So maybe
not yeah.
Skeletor's a bad guy, right?
Yes.
But Man-at-Arms is a good guy.
I didn't know Man-at-Arms. I only knew He-Man and Skeletor and that
Mr. Fisto.
Purple Panther thing because a lot of people I knew went to Elder.
No, I'm not. This Facebook thing's real bad. Let's talk back to 2021 for Alan Oppenheimer. Because then I saw Ming-Na Wen. I'm like, okay. And then the next one's telling me Alan Harris. I'm like, no, he was there way back in 2019.
So Oppenheimer's not going to be there?
No.
Wait, if you buy tickets for 5 years ago, you can see Alan Oppenheimer.
Which Oppenheimer may have been able to pull off.
Yeah, and his comic that he supported, Fat Man and Little Boy.
But
I just got it.
I was hoping somebody would.
But the Oppenheimer movie from Christopher Nolan is coming out soon.
I did hear that. I am looking forward to that.
Do you think it's about the comic book writer?
No. And he wasn't a comic writer. He was a voice actor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think it was about the voice actor?
No, it's not.
I think it's about going back in time 5 years to the Cincinnati Comic Expo to see him.
I thought it was a sequel to The Prestige.
What else is coming? What else is coming out this week? Next week is Dungeons and Dragons, or it comes out on the 31st.
Oh, that's not this weekend? Damn.
Nope. This weekend is John Wick 4.
Oh, John Wick 4. Everyone go see John Wick 4.
And Breath of Silence, Lance Reddick.
Oh, yes.
One of the stars of John Wick.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of other things. His portfolio is pretty vast, and he was good in virtually everything he did. So, Breath of Silence to Lance Reddick.
He was in Lost. I say that just because Blake probably doesn't know because it was one of the later seasons.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember.
The Wire, he was fantastic in. HBO, he did a lot of HBO shows. He was in The Wire and Oz for sure. And I think there was one more.
Who was he in Oz? Was he a prisoner? Or?
Yes, he was one of the prisoners.
That's like we're like living out the real meme that of this Riddick. He's that one guy from that one movie, and they got like a combination of like 24 movies he's been in with his character on it.
Well, he is a that guy type thing. Like before you know who he is, it's like, oh, I've seen him before.
I've seen that guy.
John Wick 4 is his most recent one. Then he was a voice actor in The Legend of Vox Machina.
The Legend of Vox Machina.
And other things that will Resident Evil. Let's see.
He was in Bosch.
Yeah, Bosch was a big one. He was in Man on Fire. Godzilla vs. Kong.
Which one was he?
Both.
That's impressive.
Angel Has Fallen. John Wick 3. American Horror Story.
Which one? The original?
I think it's 2014, so third season.
Maybe if you look in the video movie guide 1995 that you brought out.
I was pulling this out from Plotlines. Because
you're pulling out from
15,000 movies. We couldn't have seen it. I could flip to the thing and pick out My Father's Glory.
Oh man.
What year?
It doesn't say. I can look it up if you want. But there's a danger of me seeing it. But there's a danger of me seeing the plot then.
Well, we'll just go with it. My Father's Glory. Let's see.
My Father's Glory.
Wait, Jeff, do we have plot lines queued up there? Some music?
It's at least 1995 or earlier.
Let's see. Wait, what? Oh, man, no. Oh, damn it, Jason. You're screwing everything up.
1991.
1991 from My Father's Glory.
Wow! It's time to grab your balls.
That was loud.
Of fury. It's Plotlines with Jeff and Jason.
Yeah, but I did, and the listeners all probably went deaf when I hit that.
I blame Jason.
I blame Jason, too.
He was Desmond Mobe in Oz.
These Skittle gummies are delicious, Brian.
They are brand new.
So My Father's Glory. I'm going to say it's a sports movie of somebody whose father was a big person in whatever sport it's about, and he's trying to...
Starring Tim McGraw.
Sure. Trying to live in his father's shadow.
I'm sure trying to break away from his father because he doesn't like him.
Oh, so he becomes a country singer instead?
Yep.
So you're saying it's the Tim McGraw story?
Yes.
Okay.
And he hates his father, Tug.
Tim Tug.
I'm thinking it's more likely a war movie where his father was at war and had glory and everything, and then he's just telling all his friends, "Did you hear about my father? Did you hear about my father?" And
does it star Denzel Washington and Matthew Broderick?
Wrong Glory.
Oh.
Yes.
And Carrie Elwes?
It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Because it's my father's.
There we go.
It's the Red Badge of Courage.
Blake, any thoughts on My Father's Glory?
Let's see. Jason's not here. I'll fill in for him. It's about a young girl's coming-of-age story. Starring Reese Witherspoon.
A young Reese Witherspoon.
A young Reese Witherspoon.
What American Beauty was based on. My Father's Glory.
Oh.
It was an old French film that American Beauty was based on. I'm going to change my answer to that. I like that better.
It's a deep cut.
You getting it, Jim?
Pulling it up.
Do you have any
background?
Video Movie Guide 1995.
Go ahead and play the Cinema Guys advertisement while he's pulling it up. Hi, I'm Brad.
Do you have it?
Yep. At the end of the 19th century, little Marcel lives with his parents in the province countryside. During his holiday, Marcel meets Lily, a local boy who knows all the secrets of the hills, and the two become best friends. Yep.
It's French?
Yes.
So it's just about two best friends? I picked a terrible movie.
You did pick a terrible movie. Find a better one.
You know what's really nice, though? Is we read something about something that's French, and we didn't have to hear that stupid accent Jason does.
I'll throw my baguette.
I shouldn't have said anything.
You shouldn't have.
My name is Remy LaCroix. My bagel.
On the same page is a movie called Mr. Vampire.
My croissant.
How could I not have chosen Mr. Vampire in favor of My Father's Glory?
Okay. What's Mr. Vampire about?
Mr. Vampire's my father.
All right, Brian Vampire.
Doug Vampire.
About a young female vampire coming of age.
I'm going to guess Mr. Vampire has nothing to do with vampires at all.
Ooh, I would say that it's about a vampire who tries to make it as a gentleman in the society of
brewers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It's got to be London society.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
Okay, not Paris.
That would be Monsieur Vampire.
That would be Interview with a Vampire.
I'm going to say...
That was New Orleans.
It started in New Orleans, but then Louis fled New Orleans and went to Paris.
I got too scared and turned it off before they got there.
I'm going to say it's about a stay-at-home vampire dad. Starring Michael Keaton.
Damn, that's good. I wish I'd thought of that.
Oh, Michael Keaton, not Hulk Hogan.
And to cover all of his chores, he keeps biting people and making more vampires to do all his bidding.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think that's Mr. Multiplicity.
If that's not it, we gotta make a movie called
Trademark.
Mr. Vampire.
Trademark.
So on Blake's idea, I'm pretty sure that you're about the young woman vampire coming of age.
Yeah, starring Reese Witherspoon.
No, he bites them to
Oh, wait,
help
hold
him
on.
with chores.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst, yes.
Did you get that far into Interview with a Vampire?
Well, let's see what this Mr. Vampire is all about.
Tell you, it's got nothing to do with vampires.
There's Mr. Vampire. There's Mr. Vampire 2. There's Mr. Vampire 1992. Mr. Vampire 3.
I mean, this is a whole franchise here. How do we miss this?
The planned reburial of a town elder goes awry as the corpse resurrects into a hopping, bloodthirsty vampire, targeting everyone responsible for digging the grave. A Taoist priest and his 2 disciples attempt to stop the terror.
I was wrong. There's a vampire in it.
And that's a terrible...
Good thing we trademarked our movie.
Yeah, our movie was so much better.
Way better.
Let's see what Mr. Vampire 2 is about. Modern grave robbing archaeologists find perfectly preserved specimens from the past of a man, a woman, and their child. Unbeknownst to the scientist and his 2 bumbling assistants, these are vampires immobilized only by the paper spells pasted on their foreheads. While transporting the child to a buyer, its spell blows off, and the vampire child escapes and befriends some local children. Eventually, the parent vampires are also awakened and escape. But by now, the local herbalist is on their trail to destroy them.
Oh, we gotta know what happens now. What's Mr. Vampire 3?
Mr. Vampire Part
Herbalist.
3. I don't. The herbalist has to.
The herbalist has not to be growing, home CBD oils or anything like that, or wouldn't be that motivated to hunt down the vampire.
Because I feel that 2 was much better than 1.
So 3 is expelled by a band of restless ghosts in his village. Taoist priest Mao Ming and his 2 spirit companions visit another village to seek wealth. There, Ming meets Master Gao, the vampire buster, who is trying to defeat the evil sorceress and her henchmen, whose goal is to conquer the human race. No, this doesn't sound better.
This is like Halloween 3.
Yeah, I think Vampire 2.
That's
Mr.
the
Vampire
one.
Part 2 is where it's apex.
What about 1992?
Mr. Vampire 1992. Master Lamb and his 2 disciples must battle a horde of Chinese vampires in order to get the teeth dust needed to cure an ailing general.
Teeth dust.
Teeth dust. Meanwhile, the general's wife is pregnant, and the evil spirit of an aborted baby wants to possess the unborn child's body for its resurrection.
This one's the best yet.
Yep. If it was just 2 in 1992, I feel this would be a decent duology.
But again, Ching Ying Lam stars in all of them.
What a blockbuster. What a franchise.
Ooh, New Mr. Vampire from 1986, or Goodbye Mr. Vampire from 2017.
Whoa.
2017, so they're bringing him back?
I don't think it was released because the plot is unknown at this time. But there was Mr. Vampire from 1916. It's a 20-minute short.
Silent movie?
I guess so. Edna's husband is unwilling to her, and has been. My God, this this plot summary is longer than the movie.
That is the movie. They just wrote it out in long form.
There's 2 of them. They're both like 7 paragraphs each. I'm not reading it. But Mr. Vampire Part 2 or Mr. Vampire, 1992, I think are the ones to watch.
So that's better than My Father's Glory, Mr. Vampire?
Yes.
So when I edit this later, we should just edit out the My Father's Glory part and just put in the Mr. Vampire?
Yeah, My Father's Glory was terrible. Even after I said it, I'm like, wait a second, that could be... that's just a regular movie.
Well, both of these movies were foreign films. There's nothing
What?
wrong with that.
They were foreign?
Not there's anything wrong with that.
They were probably in a foreign language, too.
No, Mr. Vampire is definitely English.
Nope.
So, what is it in Chinese? Oh wow! You got to post the poster on the Hobie website. That is a wonderful, wonderful poster.
It's part of our interactive media guide for the episode.
So that's the end of that episode of Plotlines.
This is what happens when you have me on 3 weeks in a row.
Show starts going off the rails.
It is wild card.
Wild card, bitches. So anybody else have anything to bring up? No more plot lines?
No, I think we're good plot lines. Unless you guys want to post something else out.
No more listener feedback?
Shark's Treasure.
That sounds like an animated movie.
Okay.
I didn't say it was bad. I'm just...
Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories.
Is that a movie? I thought that was a TV show.
That was a TV show on
Showtime, I thought.
Yeah. It's in my book. It's in my book.
That's the video movie guide. I wonder if they also count TV shows if they're on video.
I mean, Steven Spielberg.
Repackaged TV. Oh, I'm sorry. Repackaged TV series and made-for-TV movies are also included. But no, I don't feel that. I feel that Mr. Vampire went spectacularly, and I want to end on that note.
All right. Should I bring up the box office?
I've got it right here.
Oh, then you can go ahead and read it this week.
All right. Number one, weekend of March 17th through the 19th, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. 30 million. Holy cow. That's a lot of money.
30 million?
Yeah.
Well,
opening weekend.
And it is a lot of money, but for a superhero show, usually they do better.
Okay.
I don't know. Number two?
Scream 11 or 12?
6.
6, that's what it is. 17.3 million for a total of 75 million.
It's too much money for a Scream movie.
Agreed. Number 3, Creed 3, 15.3 million for a total of 127,704,000. Number 4, 65. I'm not. That's it. I'm mad at myself for even saying it. And number 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, another 4.2 million. Total of 205.9 million.
What do I have to watch before I watch that one?
No. Just listen to last week's episode.
You have to watch
2 weeks.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man
and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. You have to watch
Civil War.
Oh yeah, Civil
Avengers,
War.
Civil War. Then you got
the blip movie, Avengers, Infinity War,
Infinity Wars, and then Endgame.
Endgame, yep. You need to see that. Loki, you need to watch the TV show Loki.
You got to watch all the episodes of Loki.
I don't think you need to watch Doctor
You
Strange.
can skip that one.
I wouldn't, but I think you don't need to see it.
Speaking of box office, did you have Shazam on there? I'm sorry, I was distracted.
It was number 1, a little over 30 million.
Yeah,
opening weekend.
I was reading a couple articles about that's really, really low than what their expectations were. So they think that may have actually killed any future Shazam movie franchise.
Well, they also didn't give a shit and didn't market it very well. DC they have their new phase going on, so they're just kind of pumping out these ones that were already made, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I did see they give it away. There's a cameo of Wonder Woman, obviously. You saw that in the previews. Why would you put that in the previews?
I missed
everybody's
that.
like, okay, Wonder Woman's there.
I honestly thought that he was Marvel, not DC.
He is Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel was from a company that was bought by DC, and then DC had owned Captain Marvel, and then Marvel, the comics, came along and then made their own Captain Marvel, so they were competing Captain Marvels, so then DC just named theirs Shazam to stop the competition.
The confusion.
Is that the one that Shaquille O'Neal played?
That was Kazam. So is that all the movies this week?
That was the top 5.
Okay. Well, we have coming out this week, we have John Wick 4. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. Oh.
Very excited about this.
How many people is he going to kill in this one?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the kill count going to be?
42.
That's pretty low.
That's in the opening credits.
I think he's going to take it slow, and he's going to make each one of them count and spectacular.
I do really love the I don't know if you call it martial arts, but I love the choreography.
The fight choreography.
And it's wonderful in all the John Wick movies.
The movies are a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. They're spectacularly fun.
If you remove the fact that he's a murdering maniac, yeah, that's fine.
My favorite part of the John Wick movies is, I guess the only part I actually saw was when he took on the chairman of Iron Chef.
My favorite is when he gets in the telephone booth and he gets Napoleon and he brings him back to the mall.
Yes, that was a good one. Okay, also coming out this week, A Good Person follows Allison, whose life falls apart following her involvement in a fatal accident. This one stars Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman, Celeste O'Connor, Molly Shannon.
How old is Morgan Freeman now? He's got to be getting up there, right? Shawshank was in 96.
I think he's 86.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
And when he was on Electric Company in the 70s, he looked old.
That's right.
Morgan Freeman was born in June 1st, 1937.
Jeez.
So that puts him at 80... It'll be 86 this year.
Nice one, Brian.
Thank you.
Let's see. Anything else coming out this week? Let's see. We have...
So while you're looking that up, I'll just change the topic out there. Next week is going to be the Dungeons and Dragons movie, but I guess they had a big preview this weekend, and it's getting nothing but rave reviews. Everybody is saying it's good.
Yeah, so people that I know in the RPG industry that I follow, just because follow Ben Riggs. I did that interview in 2019 in regards to his book, prequel to his book coming out, Slaying the Dragon, about the fall of TSR and all that kind of fun stuff. So apparently this is finally good. I've been really withholding my expectations for it because I've been expecting it to suck. Mostly because of the other stuff, and I've always been bitching about why don't they put the IP into the movies, like the intellectual properties. But I was always focused on like the main characters that are staples in Dungeons and Dragons. But now as I've seen more of the previews and when I hear people talking, I was like, oh yeah, I forget about the IP. Other things like for example, mimics, and then of course Red Wizards of Thay, and then of course just the character classes themselves. But the compliment that I've heard about it is that you finally got a Dungeons and Dragons movie that was written by people who grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, done by people doing Dungeons and Dragons, so you don't have any, almost kind of like giving it somewhat of a Peter Jackson knowledge of the subject material, and supposedly they've done it really well. But every time I see a new trailer, there's something new in there, and I'm like, okay, and I'm watching it as intellectual property, as in that's a monster from the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's a reference to, spell from the Player's Handbook, or that's what I'm like, okay, so this is actually going to look pretty good. But then, after all the previews that are out there, is it going to be one of the situations where you just watch all the previews and then you go watch the movie and it's like, well, I just watched all the previews play out in the movie?
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid a lot of the previews just because I don't want to get too much of the movie spelled out for me.
Yeah, exactly. I heard it gets off to kind of a rough start, but then it ends really well. It moves really well. So we'll see what happens. The thing about the characters are that they're actually not intellectual property characters like from the books or any of those, that kind of deal, but actually the characters being played as if you are characters at a table playing them characters out and having the conversations that you have while you're in the game actually playing out as real dialogue with the characters in the movie. So that sounds pretty cool.
So like when they're planning for the heist, they sound like stupid idiots trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yes, exactly. Or, when they're doing a commune with dead and they're asking questions about what they're going to ask the dead guy. It's like, all right, that's funny, but, are they going to show all the jokes in the previews again? So... Well, all right, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, but it looks like I'm going to enjoy it. And what they said is if you don't play the game, you still are going to enjoy the movie too. So
yes.
We'll see.
Before I saw that scene of them communing with the dead, the week before that in our game that Jeff here runs,
yeah,
we were doing a thing where we met a god, and the god was tasking us to do something.
Yes,
and said, "I will answer you one question." So we're sitting around, and Jeff warned us.
Yes.
The first question you ask. So we're sitting around trying to figure out what to ask without actually asking a question yet.
The whole time I'm picturing Ray from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So then Jeff's son starts to say something, and we stop him because it was going to be a question.
In the form of a question.
No, don't say that. It's like, what? It's like, well, you were going to ask a question. What?
He didn't say what.
Oh, he didn't. Don't say that. That's going to be a question. Well, was it? And then the god answers, yes.
No, that's what, like, for example, when I DM games and stuff, when you're in the middle of combat or... All right, you guys are in the tavern, and you're like standing around. Well, when are we going to talk about this guy? Why don't you ask him? Like, well, the guy's sitting right there. Why don't you guys do it like a timeout real quick and let me know when you're actually role playing, or versus when you're actually like asking. I always like to have that fun.
I'm going to role play the entire time.
Exactly.
Not me. I'm in timeout the whole time.
Yeah, so I guess elements of the movie have this in it. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Or like, remember, when you guys are yelling things out to do in combat, remember, if the bad guys speak your language, they know what you're yelling. They know what you're saying. So there you go.
Brian's going to be so pissed off there's no cars and traffic or...
I saw the trailer for this for before Creed 3, and I was mad because I didn't see a dragon, and I didn't see a dungeon. I saw some castles, so I assume that there's a dungeon somewhere in there.
Wow, because I think I've seen both a dungeon and a dragon in the first preview.
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
That's right.
Okay. Is there anything else coming out, Jim?
Nope. Nothing real major things released.
So should we move on to top 5?
Top 5.
Is that our top 5 music for the week?
Top 5.
All right. Well, I decided that I would throw out the suggestion for top 5 since we are recording this week on site. Do you have a name for this wonderful game palace here?
The game room.
In Scab Jeff's game room.
Scab Jason.
Oh, Scab Jason. Scab Jason, played by Jeff. Game room. We are going to do our top 5 favorite tabletop games. I know we've done this a long, long, long time ago. I think it was just Jason and I, maybe. I don't know. Were you on there? You don't remember? Yeah, okay, you don't remember. I know we did this, but I know in the past 8 years my taste has changed, or a lot more games have come out. So I thought this would be a good time to revisit it so we won't have to listen to Jason say Monopoly again.
And I hated board games until an episode of Hobie where somebody gave Jeff board games as a floppy bribe or something. And one of them was photosynthesis, which he claims he has never gotten, and he has no idea what that is. But that's what turned me on to board games, that this could be more than just Monopoly, life.
In 300 boxes and counting since I've been sitting here counting all your games.
At least, yes.
It is quite a game room. It's such a big game room, you had to move the video game out.
Yeah, there's now a video game room just across the hall there, which with 3 stand-up arcade, the Xbox. I think I have a Commodore 64 in there.
We should do this stuff on site all the time.
So anybody volunteer to go first?
I will go first. My number 5 is the tabletop game we played in Gatlinburg, because that's the only tabletop game that I've ever played.
I think you've played more, because you played the one at the bar, that one game.
I don't remember that one.
Oh.
Cards Against Humanity,
yeah.
Apples to Apples, Balderdash.
I don't count those as tabletop games.
I forgot.
Code names.
Ouija.
Well, you said you didn't want to hear anybody say Monopoly.
Yeah, that's the only one. You could say any of them but Monopoly.
It's my number 1.
Take it off the board.
Yeah, whatever that game was that we played in Gatlinburg, because that was fun.
That was Jason's pirate game.
Yeah.
Plunder or...
No, it wasn't Plunder. That was a different one he has.
Oh, that was the one by the guy who did the card building game.
Yeah, it's a card building game, the AEG card building game. I'll start looking that up. Wow,
Dead Reckoning.
That's what it was.
Dead Reckoning,
and we didn't even finish it.
We didn't, and I would think I was winning,
but I was set up to win the game.
I want to play that so bad. My stepson's favorite game is Mystic Vale, which is by the same guy, a card building game.
Okay, I'll go with my number 5. Euchre.
Nice. I think Euchre was like my number 2 when I did this list last time. Yes, card games are played at the table.
They are played on top of tabletop or any other surface.
All right, I'll participate.
There you go. I didn't even think of Euchre because I was classifying that as a card game. Yeah, but it makes sense.
I specifically said tabletop, so you can include anything played on a tabletop. I didn't say board, just for that purpose alone.
So not Twister.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're really...
Depends on how strong of a table you have.
It's true.
So, Blake, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is it's a family game that usually ends in chaos. Nobody really knows how it's going to end. It usually starts with a board getting flipped over and family fights among people. Yeah, it's Monopoly.
I really thought you were going to say Twister.
No, that's no.
Monopoly's awful.
Monopoly, the game that teach you about real estate moguls and slumlords.
Although I still have yet to ever properly play a game of Monopoly, and I don't think anybody ever does. I don't know. I'll ask you guys. Has anyone here ever bid on properties in Monopoly?
I don't bid on properties. You buy them and sell them, don't you? And you got to mortgage them.
If someone lands on a property and doesn't buy it, it goes up for auction.
Oh, okay.
And no one plays that rule. And that is the core mechanic to the game.
I've tried to. When people said I didn't want to buy it, I said, okay, I'll buy it for 20. And they just went on.
Did you just take it and throw your 20 in then?
Oh, I just took another couple hundred out of the bank because I was a banker. What was the thing that I shared with you on Facebook earlier this week? With you and Lou.
Oh.
Jim cheats at everything.
Yeah. He really does. Everything.
Jeff, what's your number 5?
My number 5, I'm going to put down the game Seven Wonders. It is a game where you... Oh, is it there? Jeff has it. It's there.
Seven Wonders of the World. Ancient world.
For all of you listeners, you can see Jeff holding this box.
It's a card drafting game where like everyone's dealt cards and you look at what you want and you take one card and then pass it and then you play the card and then all the cards that are passed for you and so you try to build the best. There's like 4 or 5 different categories that you try to win at, and everybody's drafting at the same time and putting down cards, and so you're trying to draft stuff to stop other people while you also try to strengthen your hand. So it's a fun game and I like it, and it's my number 5.
Scab Jason, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Root, which is behind you. But essentially, it's a forest land, and you can choose any of a series of factions. And like one's like the rebel faction, one's like the strong people who, but each one has a different mechanic. So you have to know how to play each different mechanic, but it makes for a very interesting game. Unfortunately, my wife hates the game, so it's not something that comes to the table very often. But
I'll let you know it is in my shopping list on Amazon right now.
It's a spectacular game.
I did poor when I played you in Root. I think we played twice, and I did poor both times, so I'm not sure I quite grasped it properly.
It can be complicated. I had to watch a handful of videos before I played.
Okay, now what's your number 4?
It's Machi Koro. It's a city building game where you roll a die, and then the cards that you have in front of you, they have different numbers on them, and if the die rolls the number, you get money, and then you could use that money to buy more cards. It's a very interesting, quick, fun, simple game.
Yeah, you got 4 of them on the top shelf there by your head.
One of them's a legacy game.
Yeah, there you go.
So you got Machi Koro, the expansion, Machi Koro 2, and Machi Koro Legacy.
I think Machi Koro 2 is my favorite of this.
Are those originally from China, or is that Korea?
I would have guessed Japan, but now that I look at the the text, it does look more Chinese or Korean, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Looks interesting.
I don't know.
Okay, Jeff, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Pandemic. It is
Nuke it.
Yeah, no, there's no
No?
nukings in it. Well, maybe in the legacies there might be some nuking, but I haven't got there. But it's what I consider at least my favorite of the what do you call it? Co-op games where
It's now a classic, I think.
yeah, I think Pandemic is a classic.
Didn't they restrict sales of it during COVID?
No, actually, I think it sold a lot more.
Actually, it actually helped boost.
But they've got several seasons of legacy games based off of it. But it's just you're trying to rid the world of 4 diseases, while the diseases are trying to spread and break out. And then look, Jeff's got that one too. So
I've got the legacies too.
Yes.
Pandemic legacies.
So number 4 for me was Pandemic.
Blake, number 4 for you.
My number 4 is pretty good. I actually played this with the kids lately, and I think you guys would appreciate it. It helps kids and adults help with their logical and rational reasoning and deductive powers of Clue, the board game.
Cluedo.
Yes. And of course, we have Clue. There we go.
And for those who didn't know, they put out a brand new edition of Clue just like last month or something.
Yes.
Or whatnot.
I think we talked about it.
We talked about the new
characters.
design or whatnot.
Based on the movie?
I
No.
wish, but no. There's no Madeline Kahn in it.
Okay, my number 4, I'll go with Secret Hitler.
Bum, bum, bum. And that's over there on Jeff's...
Wall?
Yeah, it's over there on the wall.
On the wall.
Oh, it's a good one. It's fun to...
Is that like Who's the Werewolf?
Yeah,
yes, pretty much
like
exactly.
a social deduction game.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to, if you're on one team, you're trying to get fascist laws passed. If you're on the other team, you're trying to get liberal laws passed. And if one person is secretly Hitler.
Very topical.
Yep. Brian, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Sequence.
And Jeff is pointing at the wall for sequence.
Right behind you. Directly below you.
That's where you put things in order, right?
Correct. Amongst other things.
Are you actually just looking at the games, or have you played Sequence?
No, I have played Sequence.
I was going to say number 3 is going to be Lamp.
I love Lamp.
Number 3 for me would be Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, there we go.
Going for the poker.
There we go. Jeff has chips and cards in here.
There you go.
I remember the first time I played Texas Hold'em against Jeff. And, I'm terrible at poker. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And, I go all in on, the first hand or whatnot. Jeff is, has a good hand, so he matches me. And then I, catch something on, the turn or something. And I think your dad was playing. And your dad was flipping out. How the hell were you in on that? What are you doing? That was a terrible hand. You didn't deserve to win that. And I'm like, I had 6 outs that, he had the best hand at the time, but 6 cards would have helped my hand.
And then you just tell him, wait for the next round when I lose my pants.
Yeah, we weren't playing strip poker.
Oh.
So that's what you remember most about my dad?
That was the first time I met your dad, yes.
And Jeff is bad at poker.
Nope. No, I'm not making any chance that says I'm not. I am terrible at it.
My number 3, I'm going to go with our favorite legacy game that we're about ready to finish, Charterstone.
We're nowhere close to finishing. We got 4 or 5 in and stopped for 4 years.
That is not in this room.
Because we're waiting for Blake to show up again and continue the game.
Well, yeah, we did have that can play up to 6 players. So the 6th spot was the Blake bot spot. It's it does an automa thing every time it's its turn. So we named it Blake bot.
Okay, Blake, what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is who knew Australia was so important?
Risk.
There it is.
That's right.
Under Jumanji.
Australia was so strategically important in the game of world conquests.
Risk.
There you go.
I knew Australia was important.
You never fight a land war in Asia.
Haven't you ever seen On the Beach?
No.
They were the last to live.
I'm going. My number 3 is Blood on the Clock Tower. It is a social deduction game where you try to find the demon who is killing people off at night, and it's got its day phases and its night phases, and it's fun.
I played that once with him running the game, and I made my wife cry.
I felt bad.
Did you?
A little. I thought she didn't understand because no one's played it before when I was running it, and so I'm trying to tell everybody, and then she just started blurting out all this stuff, and it's okay, that's normally the stuff you try to keep hidden a little bit longer.
She was used to playing the one night Ultimate Werewolf, so instead of the long game, she was playing the short game. And it didn't go well. And I should not have, but I called her out on it because she called me out with.
Okay, that's kind of awkward bringing that story up. So, Scab, Jason, what's your number 2?
Good thing she doesn't. Oh wait, she's gonna listen to it because I'm. Can I do my number 3 first?
Yes.
My number 3 is Wingspan. It's about bird watching.
'Tis a fun game. Yeah, you've got 2 expansions.
3.
Oh, 3. I missed the red one.
Asia, Europe, Oceania, and then North America, South America.
Is that like the license plate game except for bird watchers?
Yes, just like it.
We'll say yes. It's an engine builder.
Engine building game where you do different things, and when something activates one, you hopefully build an engine where it activates a whole bunch of stuff, and hopefully you can get a good engine going before the game ends.
Made of birds?
Bird engines, yes.
My number 2 is Dungeons and Dragons. 5e.
Well, if I did my list correctly, that would have been my number 1 too. But anyway.
No. He
5e.
He said 5e.
Yeah, I know. Dungeons and Dragons.
See, I couldn't put Dungeons and Dragons on my list and made an honorable mention because as much as I like Dungeons and Dragons, it's actually not the best system, in my opinion. But
Okay, what's your number 2?
Jeff, do you have any more to say about Dungeons and Dragons?
No, you shout me down properly.
Sweet, yeah. My number 2 is Smash Up.
Ooh, I thought that'd be your number 1.
Nope, it's not my number 1. Smash Up, it's right there. There's about 100 different, or 12 different expansions.
We're going to have the same number 1, aren't we?
I don't know. Possibly.
I'm going to take it from my number 2.
Okay. Blake.
So, go ahead for my number 2. It's the game that goes at a lightning pace of 1 inch per hour, and that's Axis and Allies.
I thought that was going to be your number 1. I am stunned. Unless you're moving it up for Dungeons and Dragons.
No, that would be my other list.
Ah, okay.
I started a game of Axis and Allies, and don't think I've ever finished one.
I started one in 1986.
So my number 2, I'll go Terraforming Mars.
That's my number 1.
That's my number 1.
You've never even played it.
Yes, I did. I played it at this table.
You played it with us.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It is a fun game, and I just had to say it because I knew it was going to be your guys' number 1.
It's a fantastic game. The best.
Okay, Brian, what's your number 2?
My number 2 would be Connect 4.
Is it there? Yep. Is it not? There it is. Connect 4. Woo!
Don't you hate when somebody blocks you?
I do. It happens.
And now, what's your number 1?
Well, the best part is when you flip out the lever that's holding everything up.
That's right. That's right. It's the funnest part.
Exactly.
Hey, look, someone's about to win. Oh!
Number 1 for me would be Happy Salmon.
That's the game you played at the bar that one time.
I played it at the bar a lot. I don't remember how to play, but it's a lot of fun.
Especially doing the drinking version of it.
Yes. Just yell at each other a lot and do hand stuff.
That's what she said.
I'm pretty sure that's other times at the bar.
That's after we close.
Oh. Okay.
That's what she said.
My number 1 will be Trivial Pursuit, because I just like to prove how much smarter I am than a lot of my dumb friends.
In which edition?
Genus 1.
Any and all?
The one that really counts as far as knowledge goes?
Yes, the first one, yeah. When when you're little and you and your brother sit there and read all the questions back and forth to each other, you tend to remember a lot of the answers.
But I've played the Game of Thrones version, and my problem with that is, wait a minute, am I thinking the answer in the movie or the series or in the books? Because sometimes you get everything confused.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had Trivial Pursuit as an honorable mention mainly because no one will play it.
Yeah, a lot of people won't play when we're around.
And I really want to play in the ultimate Trivial Pursuit, where we have all 6 of the Genus editions out, and depending on what you roll, you get a question from a different edition.
Cool.
But no one will play it.
Well, I guess we should probably bring it over to our cousin's house on Friday and make them play it.
Instead of euchre?
Yep. Blake, what's your number one?
So, well, my number one in my other list would be D&D 3.5 edition because I like math, and that advanced, lab that advanced physics lab I took back in college helps me out with it. 5th edition, you don't have to think as much; it's all done for you. But anyways,
I have AD&D down there.
AD&D, yeah, I love that old school stuff too, and the
1st edition.
Yeah, I know. It is good stuff, man. I wish I would have kept all those. I gave those books away like 30 years ago. I should have kept them.
And up there on the wall is the original Monster Manual.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool, man. Anyways, all right. My number
From
one.
1970.
Yeah, 1970. Yeah. It's from the old post chainmail, or was that part of the chainmail? No.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
okay, but you know it's important. All right, there you go. You know it's important and can be valuable. That's what you need to know. All right. So, no, all right, yeah, I love Balderdash and Beyond Balderdash. Not to win, but especially when you're drinking to come up with the most fucked up definitions and movie titles and acronyms, meanings that you can come up with just to make people laugh.
Those are fun games.
Yeah, I just like that.
My favorite one on those playing Balderdash was when a movie title came up, and I used the phrase or the plot was a young woman's erotic journey to Milan to Minsk, and got 3 people to vote for it. Well, like the other 4 people are like, "What's from Seinfeld?"
We all know that was Rochelle.
You guys want to talk about your number one a little bit more in depth?
I've got Terraforming Mars.
I also have Terraforming Mars.
Does that end with
and
Blue
he is
Sky on
probably
Mars?
better than me, although I have beaten him at the game.
Have you?
My wife has, and I count that.
Well, I'm
okay.
I'm looking at the cover of the box that's in between you guys, and it looks like they're planting little fir trees. What are they doing?
They're planting fir trees. I mean, we're terraforming a planet.
Okay.
I mean, it's in the title, Blake.
Yeah, I know. It's all right.
We're colonizing Mars so we can make it habitable.
Yeah, so Blue Sky on Mars. There's like women with 4 boobs on there too?
3 boobs.
3 boobs, sorry.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the one time I played, I beat you guys.
I don't think so. I don't even remember you playing, so I don't think it even happened.
It was just the 3 of us, right?
Yes.
Was it on my wedding day?
No, it was just it was a Saturday afternoon. We had some time off.
Oh, we played Twilight Struggle on my wedding day, didn't we?
That sounds about right. Did we finish it?
No, I've never finished that game.
Anybody have honorable mentions? I know Brian had a big long list. I figured.
My honorable mention was Frogger.
I'll give you that.
Mine was Twister. Put it on the
table.
Now, putting on the table adds a whole lot more danger to it. Yeah.
I'll throw out an honorable mention or a nod to Ticket to Ride because that's always fun, and it's a, I guess, what do you call it? An entry level game that everyone can figure out how to play that game. It's not too difficult. And I'll throw out a nod to Great Western Trail. I've only played it once, and it might be higher if I play it more, but it was fun the time I played it.
Since it wasn't posted on the internet, just my family has made their own lists. my wife, Jen. She
Floppy award-winning. Jen.
Multiple floppy award-winning.
Number 5, she has Everdell, a worker placement game.
I like that one.
Number 4, Secret Hitler. Number 3, Underwater Cities. Number 2, Cards Against Humanity. And number 1, Terraforming Mars. My son, Cohen. Number 5, Concept. It's a party game type of thing. Number 4, Flashpoint. It's a co-op game about fighting fires. Number 3, Exploding Kittens. Number 2, Root. And number 1, D&D. And then Tristan wrote some too, but they are in the other room.
So you go get them, and we'll see.
They are on a whiteboard written on the wall in the other room.
Oh, they're on a whiteboard. Well, that makes it difficult. Brian, yell them out from the other room.
Wrong whiteboard. It's in the kitchen.
Oh. Oh, the kitchen whiteboard. Okay. So
Number 5, chocolate milk. Number 3,
Number 5,
White bread.
Gathering.
Magic the Gathering, number 5. Ooh.
Number 4, Smash Up.
Number 4, Smash Up. Ooh, I need to beat him in that.
Number 3, Red Tavern Inn.
Number 3, Red Tavern Inn.
Number 2, Root.
Number 2, Root.
Number 1, Mystic Vale.
And number 1, Mystic Vale. Well, you ruined it.
Mention,
Oh.
Exploding Kittens.
And Exploding Kittens is an honorable mention. You did ruin that earlier when you said his favorite game was Mystic Vale.
Oh, I do have Trial by Trolley is on my honorable mention.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That's where you have fun deciding who should die and who shouldn't. Oh, anybody got anything else before we wrap this up?
I do have Betrayal Legacy on my honorable mention. I like Betrayal a lot, and Betrayal Legacy just takes it to the next level because you're building the house as you go from generation to generation.
You just like it because you keep winning.
I do like winning, yes.
The game I want to put on my list, but I have to play it first, is Gloomhaven. It won like Game of the Year a couple of years ago, and so I decided to pick it up and haven't played it with anybody yet.
I only have the Jaws of the Lion version, and so far it's not great.
I have the Jaws of the Lion version too, and the full expansion of the
main game,
and the expansion with it.
So you went all in on it, huh?
I went all in on it, so
we'll have to play it someday. All right. Well, I guess that takes us to the end of this episode.
What is the bad idea of the week?
The bad idea of the week is number 1,996.
No, 1,992. Mr. Vampire.
Oh, 1,992. What? Mr. Vampire 3 is the bad idea of the week? Okay. Making a threequel to Mr. Vampire. Titles for the show.
I have Badass Sex Predator. Glass Knives. The Badass Sex Predator, Glass Knives, Pudding Bar. That was College Chalk. Icon Relativity. Teeth Dust. And just flat out Mr. Vampire 1992.
I've got The Good Old Days of America, Glass Knives, The Culinary Box, Robin Hood and the Pumpkin Thieves, Teeth Dust, and Do Hand Stuff.
I have Which One Directed Nope? I'm Not a Congressman. At That Time. Think About What We Said. Where is Fez from? Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Let's see. I had Mr. Vampire is my father. Wrong hole, fool. Pudding Bar. Never heard of it. Onion Knives. and I just yell at people and do hand stuff. And obviously teeth dust, because that was just so good. So amazing.
So is it going to be... well, Jason would immediately say no to hand stuff.
Jason
Then we have to do that.
But teeth dust is pretty damn good.
I'm okay with teeth dust.
I guess it's teeth dust it is.
Change approved.
And Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
From Walking Dead to Talking Heads, from comic books to TV sets, there's a history. Not so bad, there's the history. It's the history of bad, so bad. The history of bad, it's bad. History of bad ideas. Podcast.
You've been listening to Hobie.